Tavyatavyaniyaraha 3196. This is the very first sutram in this adhikara of krityaha, which we have introduced previously. 3196 is the very first sutram here, and this sutram prescribes three affixes. Is 3196 prescribes three affixes: tavyat, tavya, and aniyar. Of course, these affixes get the kritya sanya because in the adhikara of krityaha, and we have to remind ourselves that the krityaha adhikara is within the adhikara of krit, a thing. So therefore these affixes get not only the kritya sanya but also the krit sanya. Now the meanings we already discussed in the last few rows, which meanings these are to be used, and let us also remind ourselves we are in the adhikara of dhatoho. These are to be used following a dhatuho. So the vritti simply says that dhatorete pratyayaha syuhu. So these affixes may be used after a verbal root. The affixes tavyat, tavya, and aniyar. Now one quick note here is that in tavyat by halantyam the takara is nit and tasya lopaha, anubandha lope tavya. Between tavyat and tavya the only difference is this it letter of the takaraha, and that it letter is not significant for us right now. The it letter is put by Panini to bring a particular intonation in the Vedic usage. Swarartha means it is swarartham, means it is there for to put a particular swara on that letter, and in the classical language there is no swaras are not used, so that is not we can ignore that for the time being, because the Vedika Prakriya we don't do in this class. So as far as we are concerned, this tavyat and tavya are the same thing for us, because this takaras and it has no significance for us in the classical language. In aniyar the ending repha is an it by the same rule, halantyam, then tasya lopaha, so anubandha lope aniya. And here also this repha as an it doesn't have significance for us. It is to bring a particular intonation in the Vedic usage. So what we really have is, even though there are three affixes here, as far as we are concerned there are really only two, which is tavya and aniyar, because tavyat and tavya, they are the same thing for us. Okay, so let's take an example. Let's take a bhave pragaha. What is bhave? Bhave is an intransitive usage. It means that an action denotes an action. There is no object of the action, denotes the action itself. So let's take a dhatu edha vruddhau means to grow, and it says let's derive these forms. Edhitavyam athava edhaniyam tvaya means the action of growing should be done by you, may be done by you, you're fit to do the action, is the proper time to do the action. So all those various shades of meanings which we have been discussing, depending on the context, this could be a command, this could be a permission, this could be in a sense of worthiness, in a sense of proper time, with sense of capability. We can simply say, the action of growing ought to be done, may be done, could be done, should be done by you. We know the various meanings that we have been discussing. Right now we have to derive these forms. Editavyam edhaniyam va tvaya. The action of growing should be done by you. Now derivation is going to be strikingly simple now. After having gone through the rigors of the Tiganta Prakaranam, the good news is that derivations are going to be very simple now. So take the dhatu ed. Of course the ending akara is an it by upadesha nasika it. Then tavyat or tavya, we add that. In the case of tavyat, as we already mentioned, duhalantyam tasya lopaha, anubandha lope tavya. And tavya gets sanya of ardhadhatukam. Because of things it's sarvadhatukam, ardhadhatukam sheshaha. Any pratyaya which is prescribed saying dhatoho. 3196 in the adhikara of dhatoho. We know that. Dhatoho is starting from here, 3191. We know that. So this is pratyaya is prescribed saying dhatoho. It is not thing or shit, so therefore it gets sanya of ardhadhatukam. Why is that important to us? It's important because of the idagamaha, among other things, idagamaha. So ardhadhatuka syed valadehe. The pratyaya is valadi, and so we get the idagama. Always remember that the idagama is taken by the pratyaya, not the dhatu. The dhatu only allows or disallows the idagama, but it's the pratyaya which takes the idagama. So ardhadhatukasya valade, nothing special, very basic rules for us now. And then adyantau takitau, anubandha lopahe halantyam tasya lopaha, we get the form editavya. Now editavya gets the pratipadika sanya by krit tadhita samasascha. Krit tadhita samasascha. Whenever a krit pratyaya is added to a dhatu, a participle, we create a participle form, and that participle form gets the sanya of pratipadikam by krit tadhita samasascha, which we have studied previously. And all kritya pratyaha also have the sanya of krit, because krityaha is contained inside kridadhikaraha. So kridadhikara starts from 3193, kritya starts from 3195. So now this editavya gets the pratipadika sanya, we should decline it. Now this is a bhave prayogaha, denoting an action. So this is also something which we have clarified before. In the bhave prayogaha, we have to use the pumsakalingam, and the outsargikam ekavachanam, we have to use the ekavachanam. So when we decline this form, it will decline like vana or phala or jnana, like phalam phale phalani. So this derivation is extremely simple. So take editavya, add the affix su by 412. Never forget the fact that the moment you create a pratipadikam, you come to the dhikara of nya pratipadikat, and the first sutram there is so just so on and so forth. So that time we just talk about the prathama ekavachanam. I mean, bhava is always ekavachanam. Look at the prathama vibhakti, and it says add the affix su, then by atom, because when it's a neuter pratipadikam, then normally we have samo napumsakat. Anytime you have a pratyaya which takes a adesha as substitution, then most of those rules come in the beginning of 7.1 of the Ashtadhyayi, something which my teacher told me about 1,000 times. So whenever you're looking at a pratyaya adesha, a pratyaya being substituted out by a different form, then most of the rules are in the beginning of 7.1 of the Ashtadhyayi. The sutram there is samo napumsakat, which of course we know, but the apavada for that is atom. If we have adantamangam, this is in the angasya adhikara. Always keep a track of where you are in the Ashtadhyayi. Most important thing. Angasya adhikara starts from 6.4 to the end of chapter 7. So atom is adantat angat. So when following an angam ending in akaraha, what happens is su or take the adeshaha. So in this case, the su becomes and then we do the sandhikaram amipurvaha. Amipurvaha, we get editavyam. So pura parayoho ekadeshaha is the pura rupam, we get editavyam. Nothing special, just like we get vanam from the pratipadikam vana. So same thing here, we get editavyam from the pratipadikam editavya. Now if we use the pratyaya aniyar instead, it's even easier. First of all, we do the anubandha lopaha halantyam tasya lopaha, we get aniya. And now this pratyaya is not valadi. To get an idagamaha, one very fundamental thing, never forget that the idagama is only possible if the pratyaya begins with a valadi letter. That's the most fundamental thing, is that because 7 to 35 says ardhadhatukasya valadehe, that valadehe runs throughout the idagama section. The pratyaya does not bring with a valadi pratyaya, forget about idagama, it's not possible. In this case, of course, the pratyaya begins with a ach, so it is clearly not a val letter, so there is no question of idagamaha. We just do anubandha lopaha halantyam tasya lopaha, we get the form edhaniya, and the declension is the same, edhaniya plus su, then by atom, and also by the makara does not get the sanya because of navibhaktau tu smaha. So this makara does not get sanya. All this is basic stuff for us now. And then we do amipurvaha, get the form edhaniyam. So that's how we get derivation. Is very simple. Nothing here. It's just idagamaha here, and that's it. Everything else is just straightforward. So editavyam athva edhaniyam tvaya means the action of growing should be done by you, ought to be done by you, may be done by you, etc. Now if we take a sakarmaka prayogaha, an action which involves an object, we can say it's called karmani prayogah. Chetavyaschayaniyo va dharmastvaya. Dharma is to be accrued, by you. You should accrue dharma, you should earn dharma. So means this could be a command depending on the context. So this, you should accrue, dharma should be accrued by you. Or this maybe could be at the right time. This is the right time for dharma to be accrued by you, or you are capable of accruing dharma. So this dharma is to be accrued by you, and you are capable of that. So all those various meaning which we just saw. And the derivation, this dhatu is ching chayane halantyam tasya lopaha nyakarasya itsanya tasya lopaha. So the derivation starts with chi plus tavya. And again, tavyat and tavya, the same thing for us. In the case of tavyat, we just do the halantyam tasya lopaha, we get the form tavya. And now what happens is that this dhatu is anudatta upadesha. So because, so therefore ekacha upadesha anudatta, the in nishedha comes here. In nishedha comes over here. So this, there is no idagamaha because 7 to 10 stops the idagama in this case. But we have to now, just like we mentioned before, tavya gets the sanya of ardhadhatukam by ardhadhatukam sheshaha, just same thing as before. And we just do the gunadesha by sarvadhatuka ardhadhatuka yoho. So chi becomes che, we get the form chetavya. And in this case it is qualifying dharmaha, it's karmani. Dharma is the object of the accruing. So it is karmani, means it is qualifying dharmaha. Dharma is a masculine noun in this case. So we have to say chetavyaha. This is declined like Rama Shabdaha. So we simply take chetavya, add the pratyaya su by so just some out, etc. And then just to anubandha lopaha, upadesha jananasikaitasya lopaha. Then rutu visargo sasajusho ruhu karavasanayor visarjaniyaha. Just like Rama becomes Ramaha, same thing. If you use a pratyaya aniyar, there is no question of vidagamaha, we already discussed that because it's not a valadi pratyaya anyway. And then aniya also gets the sanya of ardhadhatukam by ardhadhatukam sheshaha. First of all, we do anubandha lopaha for the repa bhalantyam tasya lopaha. Then aniya, this pratyaya has the sanya of ardhadhatukam sheshaha because it's prescribed in the adhikara of dhatoho, and it is not a ting pratyaya, it's not a shit pratyaya. So it has sanya of ardhadhatukam, and we do the same gunadesha by sarvadhatuka ardhatuka yoho becomes che plus aniya echo yavaya vaha chayaniya. And then when we decline it again like Rama Shabdaha, chayaniyaha. You see, derivations are so simple now. There's nothing here. Just we had back here, all we had is the idagamaha, that was it. And here we have gunadesha. Very, very straightforward derivation. So that's the good news now. You're going to enjoy this from now on, deriving these very easy forms. After having gone through the rigors of the Tinganta Prakaranam, this is going to be very easy derivations. Once we find the correct affix, which meaning to use, and following which dhatu or pratipadikam, the rest of the derivation is going to be easy for us. Okay, so one more time is this important sutram tavyat tavya niyaraha, used in Gita a lot of times. Kairmaya saha yodhavyam, so this is used in Gita many kartavyam, many times it's used in Gita, of course, very common forms. Derivation is very simple, and we have also seen the various shades of meaning which can be used, but never forget 3, 4, 70. Tayoreva krityakta kalartha, it used to be only in the passive. Tayoreva krityakta kalarthaha. And so these three affixes, which tavyat and tavya, come to the same thing for us because we are not studying the implication of the swaraha. And then aniyar also, the repa is, and it doesn't make a difference to us really because that also has only implication for the intonation in the Veda. So we derive these forms. This was the bhave prayogaha, editavyam edaniyam va tvaya. This is a intransitive usage, but this one is a transitive usage. Chetavyaha chayaniyo va dharmaha. Chetavyaha chayaniyo va dharmaha. The next sutram we are going to look at is make a small stop that looking at this Sutram 33113, which is Krityaluta Bahulam. It is an interesting Sutram which gives us the authority to use Kritya Pratyaya in the meanings which may not fit what we have said so far. So next sutram we look at is Krityaluto Bahulam. Before we derive any more forms, we'll take a brief look at the sutram Krityaluto Bahulam. This is 33113. Please note that there was a small typo in the recording which the earlier recording on this sutram 3196 Tavyat Tavyani Yaraha. The recording actually was fine. There was a small typo on the screen which you saw. So when we did the form Editavyam Edhaniyam, at that time when the pratyaya su was added, it said the vivaksha is napumsakalinge. It had incorrectly here prathama purushaha. It should be obviously prathama vibhakti ekavachanam. But so everything, the recording was fine. Only thing is that instead of putting prathama vibhakti, the screen was showing prathama purushaha. So that was a typo. Please make the correction that obviously it has to be prathama vibhakti and not prathama purushaha. Same thing here. It is prathama vibhakti. In this case, pullinge. These are adjectives, so they are going to be chetavya is an adjective here. So that is going to go by the term which it qualifies. So you can say dharmaha chetavyaha. Dharma is to be accrued. So pullinge prathama vibhakti ekvachanam and not prathama purusha ekvachanam. So everything else was fine. The recording was fine, but the screen had prathama purusha by mistake instead of prathama vibhakti. So please make the correction.